Hello everyone, GenmaTheSamurai here, and welcome back to this part of Metroid Samus Returns. Well, it's a bonus part specifically. So I beat the game last time, and I talked about there being Chozo Memories. I kept mentioning it throughout this entire playthrough. Well, basically, for those of you who may not know, a lot of these games, they'll have like a gallery where you can look at artwork and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. But, in particular, there's some really important ones that actually have the lore and backstory of SR388 that you basically unlock by collecting the items in the game. That's the actual purpose of collecting every single item. So we're going to go ahead and press A, and yeah, I'm really excited to show these off. So I'm going to basically give my own interpretation of these events and everything. I've seen a few videos, but I definitely have my own takes on some of these. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and do this. So first things first, let's go ahead and go to options. You've reached a milestone of item collection completion. As a result, new art has been unlocked in the gallery. Okay. So let's go to the gallery and Chozo Memories. This is going to be really cool. So let's do it. Alright, so here's the first one. So, as you can see, the Chozo arrived on planet SR388, possibly to investigate, into what's on this planet, just see what's happening. They went all over the place in the galaxy, so here they are arriving. So, anyway. Alright, and here you can see the Chozo harvesting energy from these creatures. Now, I've heard some people speculate that this is specifically the Aeon energy, which actually makes a lot of sense, and that it's something that may only exist on this planet. My own personal interpretation and take is that Aeon is just a representation of life energy, and I was actually thinking about this for a while, but I think in general, Aeon and just life energy in general might be actually what fuels the suits and armor that the Chozo use. And I think it makes a lot of sense. In particular, there's a bunch of things I've delved into, but I know this part is not technically canon, but it totally could be in my own mind, is that the Metroids themselves, well, we'll get into that a bit, but in general, Samus kills things, she gets energy from it. So it's showing them collecting it. So here we are in the third image. Alright, so they're going further and further down into the planet, continuing to investigate, and, they're dealing with some resistance from some creatures. Oh, you can see the Digger Knot in the background, too, that they created. So the Chozo created the Digger Knot, so that's pretty fun. Anyway, on to the next one. And look at that. The Chozo discover the X parasites. So you guys may have remembered it from the secret ending. If you have not played Metroid Fusion, it's kind of a big spoiler. Kind of wish they didn't spoil it, but for what it is, it's pretty cool that they're explaining this. So the Chozo saw the X parasites taking over a bunch of creatures, and to combat the X-Parasites, the Chozo created the Metroids. So if you ever thought that the Metroids were indigenous to the planet, they were actually artificially created by the Chozo. And that's really cool. I really like that. But yeah, so the Metroids were created. Also, that is in the manga, fun fact. The manga actually explicitly says that, and now it's been confirmed in the canon. So anyway, yeah, you can see the Metroids just killing the X-Parasites and just taking care of the problem in general. In general, by the way, I recommend you guys do read the manga. It was actually created with the help of Sakamoto, the director of the 2D games. So there's a lot of things that were in the manga that have been surfacing in the actual main plot line. So I think it's like sorta canon, so I definitely recommend it. But anyway. And yep, now the X-Parasites are nice and under control. The Metroids are just, chilling out. No problems yet, and they're able to continue investigating. So, no problems, right? Yeah, that is until this starts happening. So now the Metroids are starting to mutate, and the Chozo do not know what's going on with that. Now, I had a theory that a lot of the weird yellow gunk and residue all over the place that the Metroids use and probably used to mutate and everything. I don't know if that's related to the Aeon or the X parasites, or if there's like a weird correlation between the two, because they're both yellow. That's another thing I've been thinking about a little bit, but I don't know what the correlation is, if there is one. Nonetheless, whatever is happening is causing these Metroids to mutate, and they can no longer control them. So, I'm gonna go to the next memory. So, to contain the Metroids, they started flooding parts of the planet, with the only way to unflood it being to collect the Metroid DNA, which is really weird and specific, but yeah, that's what the purple water is there for. It was meant to keep the Metroids contained and keep them from, reaching the top. So, there we go. So now we're at the 10th memory. And they arrive back to the top, where they're met by other Chozo. So, there we go, and they were able to escape, right? So... Also, if you guys have seen the trailers for Metroid Dread, I'm pretty sure that Chozo in that artwork is in Metroid Dread. And I am so excited to see what that's about. Also, I'm gonna give credit where it's due for a moment. You guys should watch the Orpheon's video on the Chozo Memories. He did this crackpot thing where he looked at it. So it says 2D out of 10 there. That obviously was a hint for the next 2D Metroid game. But technically, if you take the number 10, cut it in half, with the number 2, you get 5, Metroid 5, also 2D, D, and then D at the end, Dread. And then also it's a 5-letter word. It's just funny. I like it a lot. Some of it's for laughs, but yeah. Anyway, there you go. That's the Chozo Memories. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens next. Anyway, so there are a few other things I want to show off, such as Amiibo support. So I actually already used my, Metroid Amiibo to unlock Fusion Mode. So if you guys want to play Fusion Mode, unfortunately, you guys will have to use an Amiibo and then unlock it using the Metroid Amiibo. But hey, plus side, I got some Metroid 2 art, which is pretty cool. The original Metroid 2. Honestly, yeah, still really like that game. It's really, really, really good. But yeah, enough about that. So, anyway though, I'm gonna go ahead and show some other things you can get with the Amiibo. So, I'm gonna go ahead and cut to some footage real quick. So, see you in a moment with post-commentated me. So, see you then. Alright, so I'm going to be showing you guys how to get Fusion Mode if you guys don't know already. Basically, you're going to want to use the Metroid Amiibo that was made for Samus Returns. So basically, excuse my hand, basically you want to select New Game, and then after you select New Game, you're going to see 3 options, Normal, Hard, and Amiibo. So, what you want to do is you want to select Amiibo and move past this part of the menu, and you'll get a prompt to basically put the Amiibo onto the screen. So we're going to put the Metroid Amiibo right there, and that will unlock Fusion Mode. So that's pretty straightforward. So after this, you're going to see the Fusion Mode is going to be available, and there you go. So all you have to do is select Fusion Mode, and then you can play through the game just like me and die constantly. So that's pretty neat. Anyway, here we are back into the game. I'm going to show off a few other things you can do with Amiibo. So first off, there basically are 3 other Amiibos you can use to unlock things. So this is the Super Smash Bros. Samus Amiibo. So these unlock reserve tanks. So if you don't know what a reserve tank is, I'll explain that in a bit. But basically, right now, we're going to go ahead and hit yes, and we're getting a missile reserve tank, as well as some concept art for Samus Returns itself, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so now we're going to go ahead and use the Samus Returns Samus Amiibo, and this one is going to unlock an Aeon reserve tank, as well as that concept art from Metroid 2, so I think I used that at some point. So again, after this screen, you're going to see that I already have the Metroid 2 concept art unlocked, so there we go. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and select this third option, which is the Zero Suit Samus Amiibo. So basically, you're going to put that right there, as usual, and this will unlock an energy reserve tank, and probably the most questionable extra unlock after this. Hold on, let's go ahead and see. Music. I don't know why you have to use the Zero Suit Samus Amiibo to unlock the sound test, but whatever. Anyway, you can see all of the reserve tanks right there, and that's pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm showing off right now basically what happens when you run out of each of these. So when you run out of missiles, it refills your missiles. And in a moment, you're going to see that when you run out of HP, the energy one refills your HP. Again, it's fairly self-explanatory. This existed in Super Metroid as an item you could find, at least the energy one. But for some reason, they just made it locked behind Amiibo in this. And there's the Aeon one. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and show off some stuff in the gallery now. So yeah, we already basically saw the Chozo Memories. So this is the concept art for Metroid Samus Returns as well, and I just want to say this art looks great. In particular, man, the Proteus Ridley looks very Metroid Prime-y. In general, this concept art just looks really good, and I just really like it a lot. Mercury Steam, you have some really talented artists. I really wanted to look at the fusion suit design again. Yeah, in general, I just really like a lot of the art. You can also just kind of see how they were trying to visualize stuff like the counter, and you can also see even artwork for just seeing a spider ball just slip off of walls. Man, my favorite edition. It's okay. Anyway, this is all pretty cool stuff. Oh, I like the artwork for inside of Samus's ship, the egg, and oh, okay, so that's the Metroids coming out of the walls and everything. Yeah, this is all pretty cool looking. Oh man. Yeah, in general, I just really like all of this concept art, and it's really cool. Too bad that you have to use Amiibo to unlock it. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Amiibo overall, but I didn't feel bad about doing that. I already showed the Metroid 2 concept art, so we're gonna go ahead and just see. Here's your typical sound test. You can listen to all of the music from the game, your typical stuff, really not that complicated. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of share some of my thoughts while, you know, pre-recorded me runs through all of this. I just want to say, in general, Samus Returns is a fantastic game. I know I said at the end of the previous part I would be kind of comparing it to AM2R, but I feel that's not really fair, because this game is going for very different things than AM2R, so on second thought, I don't think I'm going to spend too much time doing that. And there's plenty of videos that people have done on it, like there's Haydox's, what was it, Game Maker's Toolkit also did a video on it. There are several people that have, and I don't really need to add to that as it is, because I feel like at this point just kind of comparing AM2R to Samus Returns isn't really helping the situation at all, because it's just kind of a weird situation the Metroid 2 is in right now. But I can say about the original Metroid 2, and I may just kind of put in some gameplay here, I really, really like the original Metroid 2. I think that it is honestly probably one of my favorite Metroid games, despite it having a bunch of issues. I wouldn't, well, maybe not one of my favorites, but I definitely like it a lot more than the original Metroid. I think it is an incredibly solid game, and actually, upon thinking back on it, I could actually recommend it over the first one. If you really wanted to go retro, I think you could start with Metroid 2 and you'd actually be perfectly fine. I think one of my favorite things about the original Metroid 2 is just how important it is to the overall narrative, and a lot of other things that are really cool about it. I think that one aspect of it that kind of got lost in translation, and why I kind of take issue with it as a remake in some areas, is that the original Metroid 2, you know, was a game where you were going on a genocide mission to take out all of the Metroids and everything, and in general, there were points where the game was not designed to be kind of fun. I think the graphics as well on the game, while people complain about it being black and white, and I had that issue at first, I actually grew to really like the look of the game, just because it kind of added a weird, eerie, old school horror feel to it. And I really liked it, because it's just, there was some environments in that game in particular that really complemented from the black and white graphics. In general, I just thought the Metroid 2 was an excellent game, and honestly, I feel like it's kind of sad that neither game completely captures it. But I also want to make the argument that I feel like both remakes have drawn way more attention to Metroid 2 than if there were no remakes at all. Because I never would have played the original Metroid 2 if AM2R weren't a thing. If that were not a thing, I would not have played it. Because honestly, it did not seem interesting. But having played AM2R actually taught me the level design, and allowed me to actually go and play through Metroid 2 and actually get through it without being horribly lost, and I really appreciate that. Would I have appreciated it without playing AM2R? Maybe not, but I don't know that for sure. I do know for sure, though, that unlike Metroid 1, the original Metroid 2 holds up pretty well, and I can recommend that to pretty much anyone. But that said, that is aside the point. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this playthrough of Metroid Samus Returns. Seriously, I hope you guys enjoyed this from beginning to end. I am going to be playing another Metroid game very soon, but I won't announce which one it is until after I finish my Golden Sun review. I've decided I want to focus on that next because that is a huge project that I just really need to devote my full time and energy to for a bit. And then once I get that review done, I'm going to basically start in on the next Let's Play, and I'm really excited to do that. Maybe I'll get another small video in between. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for the support. Seriously, I really have appreciated all of the comments, all of the love and attention on these videos, and in general, this is such a good game, and really, I cannot recommend it enough. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Bye.